Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about The Traitors, Season 3, Episode 10.
I need y'all to subscribe, like, share, comment. You ready, Blair?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
So Brittany meets Danielle and is offered to be a traitor. She accepts.
Okay.
They go to the turret. Danielle talks about how frustrated she was with working with Carolyn, and they now need to talk about who they want to unalive. So Dylan and Dolores' name get thrown out there.
Yeah.
Brittany says we have to protect them because they trust us the most. Brittany thinks anyone else can go, Tom and Gabby possibly, because they are on to Danielle.
Now, what is your thoughts before we know, of course, who was unalive? Who was you thinking that they should unalive?
I was thinking that they should unalive Dylan, but I will say, as much as I've been, loud in the mouth about getting Dylan up out of here, Brittany, I didn't hate her strategy.
Her strategy, because she came in with some inside information.
I didn't hate her strategy. The fact that, hey, I know that Dylan is a strong player, but he's on our side.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I didn't really consider that. And I appreciated Brittany's insight and her forethought. I thought that when she was talking about Tom and Gabby, how they were on to Danielle, and even though I felt like nobody really respects necessarily Tom and Gabby's opinion at this point, the fact that they're on to her is a problem. It is a problem, and they're not on Danielle's side. So,
I think when they brought up Dolores and Dylan, I'm going to reverse engineer, because that's the beauty of watching it and not being part of the show. I can act like I know all the answers, right? I'm going to go off of the logic that Blair said. Blair said a bad faithful is just as bad as a traitor. Right? And I'm like, man, if they would have wished they could have got rid of Dolores. You know what I'm saying?
Just in the way.
Yeah, just like things like that. So, oh man, like that bad, like I really did not understand or understood when you said that until this episode. Like a bad faithful is worse because they just in the way.
Yes.
They gonna mess up everything.
All the plans.
Yeah. So, but based off of the two names, I wasn't mad at either of them. I would say Tom.
Yes.
Yes.
So we get to breakfast. Dylan was suspicious of Danielle, but at this point he wants to move forward thinking that she's a faithful. Dolores thinks that Tom's a traitor. Dolores has been on Tom's behind this whole time.
Well, guess what?
Gabby is still thinking Danielle is a traitor. She had insight on Carolyn. The only way that she could have had that type of insight, Gabby felt, is because Danielle is also a traitor.
Yeah.
So we learned that Tom was unalived. The traitors agreed to that, and the plan was to work on banishing Gabby at the next round table and pretty much saying she had something to do with it. So Alan arrives. The last round table tonight is where the player's identity will be revealed. One individual will get a power, and he says seeing is believing.
And that's why I would say, based off the logic, I agree with the logic, but as from the POV of watching on my couch, I could say then you should have got rid of Dylan. The reason why is that is, even though Tom is someone who is, as they describe, a dog with a bone, I think you can convince him. I think if you wanted to frame Gabby, I think the best person to eliminate at that time would be Dylan, because Dylan's the one that keep writing her name down, right? The same way as if you wanted to frame Dolores and things like that. You get what I'm saying? Because she keep writing Tom names down. So I think I like the fact that they are strategizing and saying we go work the house, but now we go see how good y'all are at talking and how good y'all are at basically convincing people. And I don't think that's either of y'all strong suits, in my opinion. But it is what it is.
So Gabby and Danielle talk, and she tells Danielle at this point everyone is suspicious of anybody. Danielle and Dolores chat. She drops Gabby in name in Dolores's ear. Dolores can see that being true, and she does trust Danielle.
Okay, nice.
Dylan and Ivar talk. They know that they're both faithfuls, and Ivar says there's either one or two traitors left. He's thinking Danielle. Danielle has been saying that her mind is racing all the time, and maybe it's because she's always having to strategize. Dylan has his mind set on Gabby at this point.
Okay.
So we see Gabby and Brittany talk, and Gabby tells Brittany that there are most likely 2 traitors left. She thinks Danielle and Dolores. At the last round table with Carolyn, it seemed like it was traitor on traitor.
And that's the thing about it. Once y'all show traitor on traitor, people go always think now that is the new coffin thing.
And what do you say? The ghost of Bob the drag
queen.
The
ghost of Bob the drag queen is hunting this season.
Yeah.
Like the same way as people say, "Oh, a traitor was in the coffin." Now people go use that for next season and seasons on, and basically say traitor on traitor because the traitors has been the worst this season of working together. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So Brittany and Dylan talk. She throws Gabby's name out there. She because she stuck to her group and she's just now talking to everybody else. Yeah. How can you do that if you're a faithful?
That's true.
Gabby and Danielle sit in silence next to each other.
I like this. This is my favorite scene right here. I ain't gonna say nothing.
I was with Gabby. I'm like, she's like, I'm not breaking the awkward silence. I'm sitting here relaxing, sipping my tea, and it is what it is. And I was like, as you should, Gabby, as you should.
And that lets me know that here's the thing that the traitors don't understand, right? Mm-hmm. The faithful knows who they are, right? So the fact that Danielle think that she is sitting there and basically she's going to intimidate, you're not going to make Gabby think she's a traitor.
Right.
So you should have used that time to talk, to get it off of you.
Exactly.
And put it on somebody else.
Anybody.
Because at the end of the day, you sitting there is not intimidating her because she knows that she's a faithful. Mm-hmm. She don't necessarily know that you're a traitor, but she has a feeling that you're a traitor. But one thing that she knows for certain, that she's not a traitor.
Right.
So what you need to do is convince her. Sitting there silently, I think that's wasted time. Mm-hmm. You're trying to do some intimidation thing, but we will see.
Yeah. So we get to the mission. There are 3 chapters or 3 challenges in this mission, and it's basically a mission on memory lane to win money.
Okay.
So the player who catches the most gold will win the power. They will become the Seer, which will allow them to learn another player's true identity. Mm-hmm. So we start with the first challenge. There's a bunch of clowns, y'all. It's really creepy. It's a bunch of clowns, and they have either $500 or a skull in their waistband, and they have a balloon. So they get out there, they expose what's on their waistband, and then they move around, change positions in different formations, and they have to remember which clowns have the 500 versus which clowns have the skull. So Dylan is keeping track of the 5 skulls because the rest are the ones with the gold. But Dylan didn't keep good track because everyone got gold except him.
And the thing that sucks about it is if you was keeping track on one balloon and somebody else pop it before you, you're like,
you done.
I was looking at that one.
I was about to say, I'm going to lose this one because they moving too fast. Like, I couldn't keep up. Yeah. I couldn't. So they have the chance to stay whether they want to roll the dice and keep playing or to stay. Danielle and Ivar choose to stay. Dolores and Brittany end up getting 1,000 and Gabby lost her 500. So they move to the second challenge. They have to pull the doll's cord for money. Pull too many times, you risk losing your money. Gabby pulled one too many times. She's at 0. Dolores and Brittany added 1,400 to their pot. Ivar lost all of his money. Danielle added 2,000 and Dylan lost everything.
Yeah, listen here. Danielle was really trying to win because she was like, I ain't trying to get my identity exposed.
Exactly.
Which is fair.
So we get to the final challenge where they have to retrieve gold from coins in these bags. You have to put the bag or the gold in the cage and then hoist the cage up. If your cage isn't hoisted in time, which they have 5 minutes, then you are out. So some of the bags have like smelly leaves and dirt and all these types of stuff to where they're digging in to see if there's actually gold in there. Dylan sees that Danielle really wants this power. He thinks a traitor would want the power so that way they wouldn't get caught. So he is becoming more suspicious of her during this game.
And guess what? This is why taking notes is very important in this game because I will use that to my advantage of she was the one in the first game. She got off that raft. Also, she was giving up shields.
Yes.
Also, she was doing all these things, and now she just fighting
now
hard.
Now she working. Now she want to win?
I'm about to say.
Why is that?
Yeah, that's kind of strange arranged. You know what I'm saying?
But we, everyone gets their cages hoisted, so everyone gets to collect the money that they won. But the Seer won't be revealed until after the round table.
That's fair.
So Gabby tells Dylan that she heard Danielle's voice coming out of the bookcase earlier in the game.
Woo.
Dylan think that's some really good evidence.
Yeah, and guess what? Hey, dude, you know what's so funny about that? That was like episode 3, I think it was, right? Hey, Danielle, you're a traitor.
We see you.
You know you're a traitor. When you saw Dylan come out the bookcase, why didn't you use that to your advantage?
Exactly.
Now Gabby about to use that advantage and things like that with the Carolyn things, and it's like Danielle is like, I think she thinks when I act dramatic and when I cry, people are convinced that I'm a faithful. And I think what happens is I think people are actually playing a game, as Gabby is showing us, of if you make it to the final 6, I always knew you was a traitor.
Right.
But I'm going to increase my chances of actually getting you out, right? And the fact that, we saw Bob the drag queen and Rob go at it, and then we saw Carolyn and Danielle go at it, it's like, Danielle can definitely be a faithful because I know can be a traitor because I know I'm a faithful. So that's why I'm like, Danielle, you are playing a bad game, girl.
Yeah. Dylan tells Danielle straight up, it's either you or Gabby tonight. And he's open to listening to Gabby tonight. Danielle tells Brittany that Dylan is open to banishing her, and Brittany is on the run. She is trying to get her votes together for Danielle. And I will say, Brittany's the type of traitor you want to have on your team because she's looking out for,
she is campaigning.
Who's coming after you? We got to protect, ourselves as the traitors, but in order to protect myself, I got to protect you, and we're going to find a way to get these votes. So Brittany's working.
Yeah.
Okay. Brittany runs to Dolores to try to get her to vote against Gabby, and Dolores says that she hasn't heard Gabby's case yet.
What the heck?
Ivar tells Brittany that he's voting for Danielle, and Brittany says, she doesn't really know if she can vote for Danielle. She kind of tries to start turning on the emotions, and Ivar tells her, it's just a game, girl.
Yeah. Dude, you know what's funny?
What's that?
That's why I know Danielle she's done. Because when Dylan told her to her face that, hey, I may not vote for you, Danielle, right? Or basically, I may vote for you. Hey, I'm 50-50. She did. You know what she used her time to say? I would be really hurt if you do that.
Yeah.
Present a case.
Exactly.
Like all this time, like what's the point of meeting in private and actually going around and campaigning? Present a case. Don't talk about how much that would betray you because you're lying.
Yeah.
So it's like everything you say, swearing on your grandkids that people are saying you're doing, which I have no problem with, right? All I'm saying is present a case, but you didn't present a case. You basically just try to play to the emotion. And Dylan haven't had an original thought this whole season. A lot of people view him as a strong player. I don't, because every person that he came up with, for one, he's been wrong about Gabby, and every person he's been with had been influenced by Boston Rob and things like that, and then he was influenced to get Seer out. So Dylan haven't had an original thought, and he haven't had an original case that's been correct.
Right.
So convince him.
Yes.
Come on now.
Yeah. So we get to the round table. Brittany pipes up. Brittany at first, before the round table even started in her confessional, she was like, I want to protect Danielle, but I also don't want to stand out. So Brittany, you shouldn't have been the first one talking. I'm sorry. But Brittany said that Gabby kept to her group at the beginning, and it might indicate that she wasn't as fearful about her position. Danielle says, yeah, because you had numbers around you. Gabby tells her, Danielle, you have numbers around you too. Carolyn had points at the last round table, and your points seemed like it was firsthand information as a traitor.
That is true.
Danielle says that she was quiet until Carolyn attacked her. Dylan says, well, Danielle, you destroyed Carolyn in that argument. There was a chance that you guys were both telling the truth, but Carolyn just wasn't as convincing. Ivar says traitor on traitor.
Okay, thank you, Ivar.
Danielle says that traitor seems like it would probably be a girl next door type person, and Gabby was like, we've gone over personality traits before, and that hasn't worked for us in the past. You can't vote people out because of their personality. Gabby says Tom was throwing your name around last night, and then he was unalive. And I'm like, drop the mic, Gabby. Drop the mic. Don't put Gabby in a corner because she's gonna swing. Okay.
Here's the thing about it, man. I really don't understand why Danielle couldn't use girl power to get one of the guys out at the round table. The whole idea that we are going to just go with, I think one of the traitors is a woman, is wild to me when it's more y'all than men. And
I think that's where Danielle's head started to shift, because I was surprised by the name she wrote on the board, but we'll get to that.
I'm just like, hey, you know there's more of y'all than like the guys. You could easily just get a guy out.
Right.
But okay, keep going.
So Dolores throws out Ivar's name.
Wait a minute.
I was like, can somebody tell her to stop? I'm like, I'm trying to watch the show. Dolores just hollering. So Ivar thinks voting him out would be pointless. And Danielle, when all the votes come out, she voted for Ivar. And I thought of it one of two ways. I was thinking like, Danielle, it was you versus Gabby. Why are you writing Ivar's name down? But
she should have to save herself.
But the thing is, if Dolores is already saying Ivar, and if she votes for Ivar, at least there's a few points against somebody else to get them out instead of her. So I think she really was thinking numbers, even though she was just going for Gabby.
It was 100%. Because because remember, Dolores is supposed to be the deciding vote, right?
Yeah.
Because she talked to Dylan. Dylan said, I don't know. So you really can't count on him. Mm-hmm. So you're hoping that your partner, Brittany, have some type of like, hey, hopefully you can feel this thing. Hopefully you can feel the tide turning. Mm-hmm. Don't write down Gabby,
right,
Brittany. You get what I'm saying? Because listen to what I'm saying. You know I'm a traitor. So that's when, if the minute that Dolores would have said, you know what, Ivar, I always thought you was a traitor, even though she's been writing Tom every day. And then you realize that Tom wasn't a traitor, so she moved on to Ivar. Mm-hmm. I would have hopped on and say, oh, that's a good point, Dolores. Yeah. Hoping that Brittany will pick up and not write Gabby.
Right.
Because now I need a standoff. I'm not going to win the vote, but I'm not going to lose it if we got at least 2, 3, Brittany, if you can read. You get what I'm saying? The room, and we can get it to a standstill.
So we do get a tie between Danielle and Ivar.
Yeah.
So Danielle and Ivar have to make a plea. There's going to be a second vote to where Danielle and Ivar are not able to vote. So if there's still a tie, it will be decided by chance.
Listen here, Ivar made a good point. He basically said, "Listen here, I'm not a traitor. Mm-hmm. Like it just is what it is." And this is how good his point was. His point was so good only because Danielle made no point.
Right.
Danielle used that opportunity. Like, if you're here, see, now you got to be even more convincing to turn a vote, right? Because I already had a feeling that people just gonna write the same name again because people just don't want to. It's kind of like the Sierra thing. People just want to basically close the book on that to make sure that it don't bite them in the behind.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what Dylan said the second ago. He said, look, man, like, this is what I'm going with. I kept your name because she basically was like, y'all are going to feel bad when y'all write my name and vote me out. No, they wouldn't, because they will see that you're a traitor.
Exactly.
Do you know you're a traitor? So that's why I'm like, you need to make it more convincing to put it on somebody else than to put it on or to basically play the people's emotions. But she's already caught, because remember, her whole argument was to go at Gabby. Yep. Now that she's against Ivar, it would seem weird if you just turn against Ivar and be like, well, Ivar is the one that. That's why I think it was a bad idea from my POV. I am reverse engineering, right? To actually make it hey, we need to get Gabby out. I think you should have used the women number, the women as a whole, to get one of the guys out, because you heard them say in the bookcase that we gotta get the guys out. I would have get the girls out. I would have came up with a lie. But there's no strategy to Danielle's game or anything like that.
So we see Dylan write down Danielle's name.
Yeah.
Gabby writes down Danielle, and Brittany saw Dolores give her a head nod. And she thought that meant that Dolores was writing down Danielle's name.
Yeah.
Dolores wrote down Ivar again.
Ooh.
And we are left on a cliffhanger to figure out where Brittany's vote lies. And if I have to make a guess, I think Brittany wrote down Danielle's name.
Because she thought that it
was majority. And I think that she was kind of thinking, if it's Danielle's time, it's her time. And I cannot ruin my game by standing out. So I think that, and also, like, being an avid Big Brother watcher, you don't want to be on the opposite side of the house. You want to vote with the house. So I'm thinking that Brittany's going to do the wise thing and write Danielle's name down.
Here's the thing about it. Why are you looking at Dolores for any cues? She obviously went off script the whole time.
Exactly.
So, like, you're trusting a person that like you shouldn't have trusted from the beginning. If it was me and my wife were talking about it, I said I would take the shot to get her out, right? But Blair made a great point of, just play it in the middle, because if it goes by chance, your hands will be clean either way.
Correct.
So
she doesn't have to take the shot.
She doesn't have to take the shot. So if she gets eliminated by chance, then you didn't do it. If she does it, you still have that relationship. And then even if the shield come out of where you can see who is the traitor and things like that, that does not affect you any bit. So I like taking a shot because it's more drama.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Anything else?
That's it.
Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. We see y'all.
Bye.